Welcome to AW360 Live at Advertising Week New York. I'm BJ Smith. I have with me Kash, Stree of Gyro.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good to meet you.
It's good to see you. All right. So tell us a little bit about Gyro and what Gyro is.
Gyro.
It's not a sandwich.
No, it's not a sandwich.
Okay, good.
In fact, it's a complete mistake because in England it was named Gyroscope and it's shortened to Gyro. They opened up in America and we're a sandwich.
So what does the company do?
Specialising in business-to-business advertising, but not like the sort of the hokey, technical garb that no one understands.
Right.
Their angle was, they said, look, you're still talking to humans, and if anything, the purchase is even more emotional because there's more at risk. And you buy a consumer good, like a can of Coke, and you don't like the advertising, or it fails, you lose $2. You make a bad decision on advertising here, you lose your career. So it's
Sure. So all right, let's go there. How do you feel about the direction that we're going in the advertising marketing industry?
I'm split. In some ways, I'm really excited because there's a lot happening and there's a lot of energy coming up and there's a lot of new media and new bits of technology that changes things every few weeks. The other side is that we're losing, for me, we're crushing creativity.
Okay.
Like corporate America's kicked in and it's starting to mold us, and then if you are rebellious in any way, if you have any voice of dissent, if you are difficult, if you are just like slightly off,
right,
which most creatives are, then you're an arsehole.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of sick of seeing the no arsehole politics. And usually the people that say no arseholes are arseholes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just sort of finding this crushing and this like sanitizing of creativity. And that's why I think a lot of the best work is still coming out of independence.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not gonna ask you to call out brands that are doing the crushing, but can you point out any brands where you feel like the creativity is still there? They still have that edge.
Wyden and Kennedy, and just about anything they do. I mean, I'm sorry, they're a competitor, but they're independent.
Sure.
They're fiercely creative and independent. And you can feel it in their voice. You can feel like when someone says, can you just do this? They say no. And they'll say it reasonably, but you can feel that, that's why their voice doesn't sound like everyone else. That's why it doesn't sound like they've been castrated.
You know, that brings me back to my earlier days when I was heading up web design. The customers would come in and they would say, I want this and this and this, because they've seen that that's what the other people in the area are doing. And I come from a fairly small market. Back in the day, when we were talking DMA, it was like 109th in the country, so pretty small market.
Right.
It's grown since, but and I had to look at them and say, you're trying to emulate what everybody else is doing. One, that's not going to make you stand out, and two, they're doing it wrong anyway. Why do you want to keep doing things the wrong way? Why not have a little creativity?
Yeah. And that's also one of the faults of focus groups, because if you ask people what they want, they'll tell you what they already know.
That's true.
Henry Ford said, like, if I ask people what they want, they said a fast horse.
Exactly. The horse is good. Yeah, Henry Ford is definitely a perfect example of that. And when we talk about even everybody's talking about Apple, of course. They've just released new phones, but one of the things that happened with the early iPod when it first came out is the fact that it came charged.
Yes.
And it's not, if they went out and asked the consumers, how do you want to listen to music, they'll give them a different CD player or tape player or something like that. They came out with this completely inventive device that changed the way we listen to music, and it could hold more than just a handful. I mean, there were MP3 players out there, but they couldn't handle the thousands of songs. And then once you got this product, you had to plug it in and wait and lose a lot of that enthusiasm of opening a new product.
Yeah. But again, it was an experiment.
Right.
And we've lost the experimentation as well. So you can allow someone to mess up a bit if at the end of it they've got something phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Now it's like everything's safe. Everything's like, there's no swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
One of my bosses used to say, be prepared to make glorious fuck-ups. I don't think anyone is anymore.
So, do you have any examples of something that you're particularly proud of?
Work-wise, not in the last year, but sort of back in the day, I did some work for Diamonds, and we did because it was a recession and people couldn't spend on diamonds, so we tried to give them something else unbreakable. So we used a Gondry technique with 36 cameras around them, got them to kiss under a diamond logo, and then froze that in time so that they had that frozen moment.
Right.
It was unbreakable. It was an unbreakable kiss. And we'd send it out with top and tail with an ad line, and people were mailing out these ads.
Wow.
But that was the reason I was proud of it is that I find myself secretly just looking on the website, all these sort of touching moments. And it was
right.
like, oh, you big softy. But it was touching.
Yeah. So, where do you see the industry heading in the next 5 years? Are we going to continue to be crushing the creativity, or do you think people are going to revolt a little bit?
I think creativity always bubbles up because that's the human spirit.
Yeah.
And we've become more mechanized, but at the same time we're becoming more human. We're getting more information, we're learning to sort of express ourselves, but we're just learning the tools. Once you get past the tools, then it gets into pure expression. So I think there'll be people that will be getting into this via big companies, and there'll be people that will be bubbling up on the periphery. And you usually learn from the periphery. So I've got hope.
So there's hope, there is hope. That's good. Well, Kash, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. We'll be back with more AW360 from Advertising Week New York.